Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Lion of Code. I am One Lion. Today is Friday, and Fridays on this channel are community days, where I usually have a bot that's running by now that can tell us what that means. So let me get the bot up and running. Let me get everything started. Just busy doing my normal day job, my normal work, listening to Big Gamey, also hanging out with him, chatting with him. Today marks an important milestone on his channel. I had been doing the prediction because it's fun, and I tried to guess wrong. I don't like being correct about predictions like that, so it's very enjoyable. And I had been spending about 5,000 points per incorrect prediction on my way to the bottom, trying to hit 0. And I wanted to do that before the trip because I had a milestone that I wanted to hit, and I missed a couple of streams where he had predictions that I could have been wrong at, so I decided to just go ahead and use the last 10,000 points to do my prediction, and now I'm at 0-ish, so I hit my goal. Very excited about that. Archery bot, refresh. Connect to Twitch. Connect to chat. But hello, Dukasoft, and hello, Plump Tardigrade. So we may or may not have an announcement at some point during the stream about what that means. Of course, right off the bat, just a reminder that next week I will not be streaming because of a trip that I will be on that I won't get back until next week Sunday. Oof. Or 2 Sundays from now. I guess Sunday, if you count that as the start of the week, would be next week. You know what I mean. I am doing a lot of things at the same time. Let me just do one more thing on my hidden screen so that everything gets done. And hello, President Not Sure. Repos, pull request, porfa. Yes, create. Man, it's been really, really warm down here. Like very recently, I was like, I love being downstairs because it's nice and cool, even when the rest of the house is not quite keeping as cool, especially since we use a Nest, and Nest has that rush hour thing that you can opt into, and we do. And so it doesn't run during the rush hour part of the day, which means that the internal temperature gets close to 80, which is insane for inside of a house. But downstairs it remains pretty cool. But today, and over the past few days, it has been really, really warm, like enough that I'm sweating. I don't normally sweat very much. Okay, so that needs to finish the build. So on yesterday's stream, I started doing the view that was going to help us with getting the restorable TRNs so that I can restore them in the test environment, so I didn't have to keep cloning the production database. Instead, I could just take the TRNs that were already finalized in test, restore them, and then be able to do the records checks on them. So it's great. Yeah, it's probably because the overall house is just warmer and there's not much cool air left because the heat just keeps packing and packing and packing. That's fine. It's still cooler than it is upstairs, which is still manageable. When it does get too hot, it's just as Plump says, heat is intolerable. I'm ready for winter. I love the winter. The only downside to winter for me is how dry Colorado is, and I am very prone to getting shocked by everything. I get so much static, and I'm sure it has to do with the fact that I really don't pick up my feet when I walk, which is not a great habit. It's a pretty bad habit. I should really not scuffle or shuffle my feet. Okay, where are we going now? I totally forgot to check where we just were, but let's find out where we're looking currently. This looks like Colorado, but it's not. This is Spain. We have a stadium that the Bronco Stadium looks just like this with these buildings nearby. So that was like, huh, is that what this is? No, we are looking somewhere in España, Valencia, España, in June, just last month. Holy cow. Very nice. Okay, anyway, very, very nice views. Happy Friday to you all. It is Community Day, and Community Day on this channel is a day where I invite you, the community, to have discussions about things that are interesting to you, things that you are interested in. Technology related, I would prefer to keep the topics away from things that I'm like, I will tell you, because like you won't always know what makes me uncomfortable, but things that I am not comfortable facilitating discussion around because I'm just not knowledgeable enough, or I don't know how to manage the offensiveness or lack thereof of a given topic. The ones that I am comfortable doing that with are software related. Our opinions about how to do code, how to utilize AI, how to just do software development things. I can have healthy discussions about that, but when it comes to injecting things about politics just to get my goat especially, I'm kind of tired of that. Let's just not go there today. It may tie into the announcement that I have later. So that said, let's kick this off. Let's get started. I am going to finish up the last little bits of this thing, which is the thing that I was just talking about earlier, where I was pulling in the methodology for getting the top 10 lab lots to be able to restore. So I just did another database update to the view so that I would be able to sort it by order and then take the top X number. And in this case, that top is going to be 10. Okay, so this should be everything that I need. We're going to test it out, see that it works, not if, see that it works. Go away, breakpoint. And then we can definitely kick off Community Day. As it says in my little bot message, you can choose if you want. There is absolutely no pressure. If you are comfortable just chatting in chat and bringing up your topics, if you have anything you want to share about projects you've been working on, technologies you're working with, whatever else seems relevant or appropriate for this forum, for this medium, then please feel free to share. Bring it up, and I will follow your lead. Any updates, Plump, on the policy? Is it still going to be delayed for a while? Have you heard anything new? Because that is very interesting to me. I think education is going to be one of the leaders in establishing appropriate uses for AI in various scenarios. And so I would like to keep my ears open to you for that. Okay, so this is going to take a little bit of time, but again, I'm not expecting to do this process very often. I'll show you what the view looks like. I did ask Claude to help me rewrite the view, and it wrote it in a way that I don't necessarily understand, that I haven't really written views as before. Man, that sucks. Okay, so here's the crazy thing. Oh man, and it expired. Okay, so because I'm adding the order by order num, that's causing it to go much, much slower than I expected. I expected it to go faster because I'm only taking 10. And when I run this query directly in SQL Server, it gives me, it takes 4 seconds to run. So why would it take even longer? Because I don't have, no, I mean, this is a view, so there should be no tracking involved. Okay, so Plump said policy is still delayed, but teachers go back on Monday, and all next week I'll be receiving a fire hydrant's worth of info. Goodness me. Well, you'll have all week. I won't be streaming on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week because I'll be out of town. And then maybe in a following community day, should there be one, then we will hopefully be able to hear more about it. Okay, you got this. That's not what I meant to do. I meant to break this up into the query again. So the actual view is defined as, where is my on-screen notepad? Let's create a new tab for this one. Actually, do I need a new tab? No, we can reuse this one. So I think Nerd Herder would have been able to tell me about this this approach. So I'm pretty much I think this is creating a table that is queryable, and then it's performing the query after creating that table. And I forget what kind of query this is called. He knows the terminology. He told me about it before, and I think that's what this is. It's entirely possible it's not. I could just do a quick search to find out the terminology for it, but I'm too lazy at the moment. But yeah, we're just doing a search through that. And when I run this directly in the database, just this portion of it, it runs fairly decently. Like I said, it takes about 4 seconds. So let us open up our Trek. New query, pasta, and who knows how it runs on my local DB. That's already 10 seconds. Oh, right. Because the original had this on there. So where rank is less than or equal to 10. But I told it not to have a filter in the view itself for the top 10, just in case I wanted to filter a different number. Table expression sounds right. That sounds very, very right. I am going to Google now that you gave me the term. What is a table expression in SQL? Common table expression. Yeah. Yep. So you're absolutely right, President Not Sure. You're absolutely right. Okay, so it did actually run and it gave us back 19,000 records. But if I do it with the rank number less than 10, or row number, or whatever you want to call this, maybe this is the way that I want to do it instead of order by. Aha, that's a better idea. Wow, why is that one still taking so long? It was running a lot faster. Maybe it's this computer, I don't know. But yeah, instead of doing take 10 or even order by, I'm just going to do where order num is less than or equal to 10. And that'll essentially be my take 10. Because that common table expression is the thing that is giving me the top 10 lab lock combinations. Oh, and the where. That's the other thing that I'm missing. The and lab is equal to, because I will always specify the lab. And lab is equal to a specific thing, and that's going to run within 4 seconds. See? There. 4 seconds. Awesome. What do I win? You win the opportunity to drive the conversation. Where would you like us to go? Then again, anyone can. Okay, so good. We're going to find out if this runs faster if I just put it in the filter, as opposed to trying to order by and then take top 10. Yeah, and it's like when I go to write SQL, I'm like I still don't use all of the more advanced things like having count. I started finally getting used to. When you do group by, having count as a better way of doing a distinct, it works better. It works better. Just a throwaway comment there. Whatever. I have found that using group by, having count greater than whatever or less than whatever, are great ways of finding duplicate records, etc., and much faster than trying to find distinct and stuff or all of that stuff. So using the actual syntax that's available to you. For example, greatest. This is essentially math.max in C#. Math.max. And it doesn't exist in the version of SQL that is on our test server or our production server. So I had to change this to case when this is greater than this, then use this, otherwise use this kind of thing. And so what are you doing, Nose? I'm trying to talk here. We're trying to talk. So I do want to talk about my impressions of TBD's stream this morning. I don't know if I'm going to have an opportunity to do that anytime soon, but I also don't really want to do it without him at least aware of it, because it's like the whole impression. I don't want to give off the impression that I'm attacking him or making him need to defend himself or saying he did stuff wrong, because he definitely did not. He talked about his experience with usage of Claude. And there's a tool out there that I didn't know about called Claude Code that you download, install in WSL if you're running it on Windows, and then it does something similar to the way Copilot works in Visual Studio Code, except it sounds like it has a lot of quirks and stuff. So he was trying to do an experiment where he was giving a fair try and a fair representation of going into partner programming with AI, as I call it. But actually, no, he wanted to do real, what is termed vibe coding with, wasn't it forked from VS Code? I have no idea. I didn't know about the technology at all until he mentioned it. And I'm like, why would you download a tool that already puts you at a that has not been proven to work very well? So the LLM itself has definitely been proven, and that was one of his statements. He hears from many, many people that Claude is the best LLM for doing software development in vibe coding style. And I can say that of the LLMs that I have tried, Claude has been the better of them in Visual Studio Code using GitHub Copilot in that specific scenario. Now, using Vibe in the browser, using Claude in the browser versus using it in Claude Code. So I've never used Claude Code. I can't speak to what that experience has been like. Using it in the browser has been fun, but it had its limitations that are very, very far blown out of the waters when you're using it in Visual Studio Code. And then, of course, the model that you use, Claude 3.1, is very, very different than Claude 4. So yeah. President Not Sure says, I've been using Gemini 2.0 Pro lately, but yeah, Claude Sonnet is my other go-to. Cool. But again, I don't want to refute anything that TBD has said during his stream. He made a bunch of really good points. His goal was to emulate what it would be like for a non-developer to go into a large-scale application and be expected to create this larger, more complex, more involved software application using only AI to do it. And so it's a cool experiment. I think it was worth doing. I just think that there are many places where it was hindered by the choices, potentially, possibly. But at the same time, it's still like, he's going to post the video. it's already posted. The VOD is already posted on TBD Develops on YouTube. www.youtube at TBD Develops. Let me just verify that this is the right address. Here is the link to it, or to his page at least, so give him a subscribe. I'm not subscribed to him on this, but I am subscribed to him on my main, but I went ahead and subscribed just now. But it's this one. I used only Claude Code to generate distributed system. So there are just like a couple of things that aren't necessarily meeting the intent of this experiment that he was doing. Number one, would the person that doesn't have any experience even know the term distributed application? They would just go ask the LLM, here is this type of application that I want to make, put it together for me, and then let the thing decide what technologies to bring in and use and stuff. I think he was maybe trying to get it to use messaging technologies, Signal R, when instead this distributed system, which again, a brand new person to software development or someone that just knows nothing about software development might not even ask about that. However, given that, let's say it was a scenario where the company that hired this individual said, this must be a distributed system, and they're giving them these keywords, and then that person is supposed to go and prompt the LLM, the company would have hired someone that is already comfortable with prompting the LLM and knowing quirks on how to communicate with the LLM, the concepts and ideas that they are trying to do. So as far as being a fair, genuine experiment that is representative of what an actual experience would be like for a professional scenario, building a system that is complex, moderately complex, he calls it, I think, using only vibe coding, I don't think it was very representative of that. That said, let's say that it was just a developer a non-developer who wanted this system for themselves, and they were just doing it by themselves. No one is directing them on how to do it. Again, that's another situation where they have a different mentality going into it. They have more of a vested interest that's like, I really want this to work. And so putting that energy behind what it is that they're doing also affects the outcome of whether or not it could be successful. Most of the time, this is my guess, this is my opinion, and this could be entirely wrong. Most of the time, I would imagine it being unsuccessful for it's released. Oh, I already updated. It would be unsuccessful for someone who does not know anything about software development to create a large-scale, moderately complex application using AI, unless they are already very, very comfortable with knowing how to prompt in such a way that they are communicating intent to the LLM and it is giving them back code that builds, code that runs, without them knowing a lick of code themselves. But I do think that it is possible. I just don't think it's likely. Okay. And again, I watch his video. Don't take only my assessment or the things that I'm saying as being absolutely true. I could be way off base. You might agree wholeheartedly with what he has to say in his video. You might agree with some of it, some of what I say, some of his, none of what I say. You have your own opinions. Please, please, please apply your own discernment and opinions surrounding this topic. I do love to have a conversation surrounding it though. So if there is anything that you want to contribute to that, if it's different from the opinion that I just expressed, I want to hear it. If it is along the same vein, I want to hear it. If it is along the same vein as what TBD says, I want to hear it. I respect your thoughts. This is so weird. So the first time I ran this, it ran in a relatively small amount of time and gave back 17,000 records. I didn't want 17,000 records. I didn't need 17,000 records returned by the application. And the only thing that I had was this condition where we are only connecting to, or only filtering on the lab code and not only getting back the top X number. Or not the top X number, only getting back the records whose order num is less than or equal to 10. Does that make sense? Okay. Water is drink. Thank you so much for the water reminder. Okay, so I am going to talk less for a little bit in case you do have any opinions that you're trying to write out and I don't want to move on too far beyond the topic, or if you just have anything new that you want to bring up. This is so odd though. So if we run this without the filter, the order num filter, then we get back 17,000 results. I don't want 17,000 results back from the database every single time I want to do this query. But it's the only way that it completes without timing out. Yeah, look at that. 17,210 records, and it took a very actually let's just see how much time it took. Yeah, this is gonna break the UI. What was I thinking? Oh, no records found. Oh, thank goodness. If it was going to try to print out 17,000 in a select list, that would have been bad. Oh, right. We need to actually refresh the page so that I can redo the query. Or go to a different page and then come back to this one. Whatever. Would have worked either way. This should have canceled because we navigated away. Perfect. Perfect. That's exactly what we were expecting there. All right, so we'll be able to see how much time it takes between this line, and that'll be how long it took for the entity framework query to run with the debugger attached, etc., etc. And that was only 2.5 seconds to return all of the records filtered on lab. I don't expect to use this tool very often, so I don't think that that's going to be a major issue if I allow the database to give us back that many records just to filter down to the top 10 records. The problem is, how am I still going to get the top 10 records if I don't order by... Ooh, I know. Let's create an anonymous object. We should be able to do this. Actually, no, we don't even need to do this. We can just use the original and let it do toList on the original. What am I thinking? Come on, Waynes. Hello? And then just move this below the actual query itself. Then we are selecting, and then we are listing that. Okay, so then we're going to order this. After we've gotten it materialized into the actual list, ordering by is going to be super duper quick, even over 17,000, 19,000 records, whatever. So we order by order num, then we take 10, and then we transform. Okay, so this is going to go super duper quick. As I mentioned before, I do love using collection expressions. That is what this suggestion is going to be, but I'm not using it anywhere in this application, but I'm going to do it all at once when we're done adding in the lab data upload stuff. And then we're going to go one suggestion at a time, clean everything up, make it pretty. All right, but it doesn't seem like anyone does have any continuing conversation on that, but that doesn't mean you can't bring up other conversation. You are very welcome to bring up any other topics that come to mind that are along the vein of software development, and then I will give my announcement thing based on how things go. We'll make decisions at that point in time. Won't we? So apparently today is Community Day plus art track. Okay, so once again, how much time does it take to do this query now that we are going from that query that took 2 seconds to objects, then ordering by, then wow, why is that taking so long still? Don't tell me that I need to break this up into 2 steps. I think I do. Yeah, it's got to be this order by order num. Wait, this says the SQL query timed out, which is weird because previously the same SQL query without the additional link to object stuff didn't time out. So let's break it up into 2. This is going to be lab lots. Then we're just going to do lab lots dot. Okay, so with this, we'll be able to find out whether the SQL query is somehow getting locked up again when we're just querying for everything from restorable TRNs where the lab matches, which last time only took a couple of seconds. Why aren't you letting me put a breakpoint on this? Hello? Hello, dear sir? Dear madman? Anyone? Anyone? Eowyn? Breakpoint? Interesting, it was still counting this breakpoint as part of that line. Oh. I can too, not. Last time, I proved that I could drop the water and get it all over my desk. I'm not gonna do that though, because next time it's gonna land on my keyboard, and that's not gonna be fun before the trip, because I would really prefer to have a working wireless keyboard on that trip. No one played Infocom games here, I suppose. Infocom. Does that sound familiar? I don't even know if Infocom sounds familiar. Was it like the stuff we were talking about on Big Gamey's channel? Man, I love his channel. They were M1 Mac games. Wait, no. They weren't M1 Mac games. How to play on an M1 Mac. Do any of these look familiar? I don't know if I would be able to tell. Yes, I would, because the Atari cartridges, I definitely know the boxes and the labels on the games. Definitely the Nintendo ones. Some of the PC ones, not very many. But no, none of these are sounding familiar to me. I don't think I've played a single one of these. At least not by looking at the covers of them. Maybe Sorcerer? Infidel also sounds somewhat familiar, but it's a common phrase. Could just be injecting it. But yeah. Zork is, it looks like it's their most popular game, so I would assume I'd at least encountered it once. President Not Sure is saying, and there it is. President Not Sure is saying they were only on computers, not console. They were text games. I mean, you did that to yourself. You were trying to do that, so I don't have any sympathy for you. Okay, here is proof that I can too drop the water. Why are you playing from the wrong audio source again? Didn't I fix this last stream? Yeah. Oh, it probably was, and I just couldn't hear it. Could you hear it? I don't think you could hear it either. Thank you so much for the follow. Oh. Wait, no, that's the music. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Let's go to settings. Let's check our audio. LG, HDR, 4K, NVIDIA, high definition audio. That is absolutely correct. What, you're not going to auto loop over and over and over? So that should have played from desktop audio 2 for me. 2. And that's this one, monitor off, monitor output. Please try again. Is tab muted? Wait, was that unload tab? Is that what I don't know what I pushed. Oh, don't mind me. I have no idea what I'm pushing. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That fix was so last stream. I thought people had heard of Zork. Guess not. Maybe. I would need to see because you said they're text-based games. I would need to see if there's any specific UI elements from it that stick out to me. So I've most likely heard of it. It's probably been featured in shows of some sort, but I don't think I've ever played it myself. Maybe. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because, you know, text-based games are pretty consistent with how they look and how you interact with them. Yeah, really hard to tell. So most likely, possibly not, would be my response to that. All right. Let's give it another go. Go again. We hit that. That takes 2 seconds. It's not taking 2 seconds anymore. Is it because I'm not transforming it? Whenever I'm returning order number, it takes longer. It actually times out. But when I project it to a new lab lot item, come on, I know it's changed. I'm making the changes now. When I project it to a new lab lot item, lab is x.lab and lot is x.lot. Then it performs faster. There are no errors. Your mom is an error. lying to me. It wasn't lying to me, by the way. I don't know if you saw it, but I had to comment out the order by. So the order by is happening on a different line. So we know that that's not the thing that's causing the lag or delay, whatever. 1111. Do 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 do. Yep. And that's, oh my gosh, that sucks. So this is good because we do only get 10 records back. It's not good because we don't control which 10 records. They could be any 10. Yeah, and these are not good lab lots to test. Any random 10 records depending on how the query decided to run, how the page table looked when it was returning results from the view. I really needed to order by ID. All right, and then what happened when we tried to select the, I don't think we've tried to select the anonymous object by itself, where we also ask for the order number. Like this is essentially the same thing as asking for the restorable TRNs object back, because this is the structure of the restorable TRNs object, lab, lot, order number. Those are all of the fields that are in that entity that represents the view. It would be crazy if doing this projection actually still goes just as fast, and then as soon as I add the where order num is greater than or less than or equal to 10. Dagnabbit, I didn't replace the breakpoint. But yeah, it should have finished by now. I'm assuming it is at this step, and we are going to see it time out. Missing. Yeah, so anytime that I ask for this order number, this is the SQL execution timed out. No, this is the actual operation timed out. Not even a SQL operation timed out. Don't know of any good ways to do this. Because if I try to do the order by here, that's going to cause issues. All right. So once again, it is Community Day, and I am still inviting anyone who has any topics that they would like to discuss to bring them up. Of course, if I'm going to bring up a topic, it will be discussions surrounding the things that TVD was discussing on his stream earlier, which I highly, highly recommend checking out his streams if you have never catched a TBD stream. And yes, I did say catched. Next week, he will only be streaming on Monday because he has whoa, what even was that sound? He has other obligations, work-related obligations that he'll be doing on Tuesday and yeah, on Tuesday, and then he won't get back until Thursday. So his Wednesday stream is going to be missed, and he also has PTs on Tuesdays and Thursday for this month. So that's why he's been missing Tuesday, Thursday streams anyway. And then he has something else happening on Friday, I think he mentioned in his stream this morning. But from then on, it should be fairly consistent, fairly smooth. Phone lines are open if you are struggling to be able to communicate whatever it is that you're wanting to communicate via chat. Then you are welcome to use your voice if you're comfortable doing that. Just hop into any of the voice channels in our Discord and then type !waiting in chat, and that'll let me know that you're in a waiting room. And then I will be able to look over and see that you would like to come into voice chat. Yeah. Okay. What to do? What to do? I think another thing that I could do is just grab the 10 most recent archive TRNs and just call it good. So let's do that. TBL archive TRN. This one we can order by descending TRN ID. Then we can group by lot. So at this point, we're filtering out the lab. So we don't need to group by lab lot. We can just group by lot only because we're filtering the lab. And in this case, the lab doesn't have the underscore in it, so we won't be using the underscore. So we're just going to group by lot. And then we're going to select new lab lot item, or we're going to take we're going to select many. Select many? No, I don't think it was many. Was it you that gave that to me, or was it Scott? Scott gave it to me, and he was like, you just do the group. Oh, so I should just use G for this because now we're in the group. Group dot value dot first. Just group dot first. And then we'll select our new lab lot item from that. So why don't you like this? Because I need to specify the property initializers in this case. So here's our lab and lot. I'm just going to start deleting stuff because it's not working as is, or not working the way that I would like it to work, the way that I currently have it written. And we are setting the return object to this immediately. So let's see how this performs, shall we? I think I was just being too overcomplicated with wanting to get it from the database, wanting to make sure that the records exist in ChemRec. But this is a test database that I will be using it on, and I am fairly certain that the ChemRec table will also contain any records that exist in TBL archive TRN. The places that won't happen are when I update the RTrack database independent of updating the RMAED database. I don't think I did this right. And then if the group by doesn't work here, then I'm just going to do it another way too. Come on, group by. You got this. Get some breakpoints. I keep breakpointing on the curly brace when I really do want to breakpoint on the switch. Mother truck. Oh, right, all right. That was the issue that we were getting. It's such a dumb issue, and it has to do with the way that Entity Framework does the group by select first. So here's what I'm going to do instead. This is the alternate way that I was thinking of doing it anyway. We're going to select a new lab law item, but instead, oh, we're still going to do group by. Instead, buy back. We're going to select g.first.lab. Or no, not even that. We're going to make it even easier where we're going to select the lab that we're using to filter by as the value for lab, and then the group key as the lab. Happy Community Day to you too, Blue Blue. 222. Blue Blue. Blue Blue. Hope you're having a great one. Hope you're having a fantastic day. I'm having a fun one so far as being able to do software development, but it's been a pretty quiet community day. So if you do have any topics that you want to bring up or share, then the floor is yours. I wanted to share my Steam page. Let's do it. Oh, this week, but it's taking a long time to process. Boo. Oh. I was excited. I wanted to see it. Not Aiden again. Come on. Yes, there we go. Okay. The other thing that I need to do with this now is select distinct and top 10. So let's do that. Let's add that to this query. I hope by next week. Unfortunately, though, I won't be streaming next week. I will be out of town. So no community day next Friday, unless someone else hosts it, which again, I am encouraging anyone in the software dev community to feel free to host your own community day. It's kind of like a meetup every now and then. Like when we get good discussions going and we get guests showing up on stream, like a couple of weeks ago, Plump came in and or was it only last week? Oh my gosh. How many years in this week? I think it might have been last week where Plump came in and was talking about AI and the way that it's being used in education, at least in her classroom and her district. And it was a very good conversation and we had a lot of engagement. But it just felt like one of those, like if we were going to have a physical meetup that was officially scheduled and we had a guest speaker on the docket that had great information to present or talk about. And then before that, we had Full of Snobble, who was showing us the joys of doing shader programming, using Shader Toy, using whatever other tools. And it was very informative and it was very cool to see him do it live. It's wonderful times. And then other times we've just had full on in-depth discussions about working in teams, about how to approach code, how to architect code. The topic that I am happy to bring up today is along the lines of and again, I'm talking about TBD a lot because he is very influential in our community. He is a thought leader, in my opinion. But he had a stream title on his stream on Wednesday of last week, is when I want to say it was, that was all about, distinct, forget that. That was all about, come on, brains. Let's say that you are making a product and consider it from multiple scenarios and answer it from whichever standpoint you want to answer it. You can answer it from multiple. The scenarios I pose to you are you are a solo developer working on software as a hobby and you're creating an application for yourself, and you find out that there is already an offering out in the world that performs the stuff that the application you're wanting to write does. Do you then just stop your development and use that? Another scenario would be that you are working for a company and you are tasked with developing software where there is already a commercial product or even a free product that is licensable. Do you go ahead and write the custom software for that company that you're working for? Or do you just use the existing product? So the question, I think he posed it as, actually, you know what? Let's go to his channel since we were just recently there. Anyway, so this is TBD's YouTube channel. I do want to keep promoting him. Dude is amazing, very knowledgeable. He does have a lot of opinions, and I don't know if you know, but I do enjoy myself some opinionated developers. Um, uh, did you change the title of it? He might have changed the title of it. That's sad. So I won't be able to accurately restate what it was that he asked or that he posed, but it had to do with is it worth it to continue developing a product that already exists? So I think the intent behind it was, is it worth it to keep writing or to keep coding a piece of software that you found already has an implementation that is usable out in the market? For me, it was the financial management tracker. I want to keep track of my finances, but I want to do it in a way where I can manually enter in my data, my receipts, my whatever I want to put in about the purchases myself. And all of the offerings that I have come across, like Credit Karma, for example, have you connect your bank directly and then it automatically updates and all of that stuff, and you can see it at a snapshot. But um, I really, really want the ability to manually enter in my own transactions so that I can feel the effect of where I'm spending money, where I'm not spending money, etc. Thank you so much. Oh man, that's perfect, Dukasoft. You're so amazing. Thank you, thank you. TBD you too. So, what are your thoughts on that? Do you have thoughts on it? Um, is it worth continuing to write software that someone else has already written? As I push up my glasses. Man, and my restream relay chat is not working. That's sad. I'm gonna need to keep an eye on the YouTubes to make sure that I do not miss no chats. And then of course, in YouTube, they won't be able to see the actual Twitch chat. You guys won't be able to see YouTube chat, but I'll do my best to relay it verbally. Okay, so we're going to try this while I am waiting for any responses, if there are any. And of course, if there aren't, I'm just going to keep hacking away at whatever it is that I'm tinkering with. Um, so right now I am just trying to create a utility that I'm able to turn a type of record from finalized to one that we can work with in our test database. Because it's really, really difficult to create test records or fake records to populate the database with that we can work with. Because there are so many moving parts and pieces, I would need the chain of custody record to exist, the actual imported TRN records would need to line up with those chain of custody records. And it's like anywhere from, we saw that there were some that had thousands of records per lab lot. And I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't seem right, but we verified it. Blue Blue says, with game development, the answer is always only if it's better. Is it though? I want to know more about that. What is the drive behind the sentiment that the only time it's worth it is if what you are making is better than the thing that already exists? That was the main sentiment that I was most interested in hearing about. So I won't talk too much about it, and I'll give you a chance to respond. Again, if that is all that you wanted to say about it, totally okay. But if you want to say more, I invite you to. And that went really fast. And that gave me back 10 records. And those 10 records are wrong. Sum it up. No, come on. They're still not ordered by the most recent records that were created. So this whole order by descending is getting overwritten by the group by. What if I put the order by here? Is that going to make a difference? Yeah, I didn't think so, because this would be in the group itself. And then if I did the first here, we would run into the same situation where it's going to give us that grouping empty whatever group key doesn't exist. We'll still try it just because I'm okay with trying things. So once again, I'm trying not to talk too much about the topic that I just brought up yet, just in case you are in the middle of typing stuff. I don't want to try to have you change gears in the middle of typing it, or try to respond to something else I said regarding the same topic. Of same, for anyone that knows what that is. All of these wonderful people to support. They just have so much fun streams. So let's do a shout out for Irish John Games, just out of the blue. Irish John Games was giving his opening rant, his traditional opening rant regarding things that are happening lately to him. Dang it. Why? Because I'm no, this is right. I'm surprised that it did run without erroring. So it's got to be this distinct that's reordering it afterwards. Which really, really bites. Because again, we don't know how many records to select from this in order to guarantee that we're getting back at least 10 distinct lab lots. So anyway, Irish John Games, amazing game developer. He is getting his game published by Microprose. His game is called Rise of Piracy, aka Rope. And you can check it out on the Microprose website. You can check it out on Steam if you go to this link. Yeah, and it's going to be such a great game. He has a lot of exciting things to say about it coming up soon. It sounds like he is dropping hints about alpha potentially, or early access, or things of this nature, but he hasn't guaranteed anything at all, which is good, which is safe. Totally understandable. Safe. But definitely check out his streams, check out his game, wishlist it, follow him on Steam. And he's also fostered a community of game developers and has put together. He's essentially a manager of a collection of games developed on a streaming platform. Games developed by game developers who stream on a platform and that have a Steam page. So, Blue Blue, I'm sure you already know about it, but if you want, if you are you planning on doing any streaming or game stuff? Do you already? Are you someone that I should be following that I'm not following? You have 55 followers. You're getting a follow from me. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, in case you ever do, and no pressure ever, I really don't want to make anyone feel like now that I have taken action, I am expecting you to XYZ. No. Um, if you do ever feel like streaming again, then I will be notified that you stream. But definitely understand if you never have any desire to do that again. Again. And speaking of streamers, there is a Stony Eagle in Stony Eagly in chat. Shout out to Stony Eagle, who goes by Stony, working on his stream on an app called No Mercy TV. On an app called No Mercy TV, which is essentially a home streaming service. So for your local media, it is an easy way to set up all of your media so that you can access it from wherever on your network. Yeah. Yeah. Now you were mentioning something. Ooh, look at that. You were mentioning something yesterday about Easy Encoder. Would you mind describing what that is? Talking about it a little bit? You definitely don't have to. There are no obligations to anything ever. All right, how do I keep this in order? How do I keep this in order? I think this might be a case. Yeah, how do I keep this in order? Munching on my dinner, I shall oblige that request after. Pasta Romano. Yummy. We had, oh man, I was complaining. I was mentioning this because I don't want to come off as a complainer. No, I was truly complaining about this recently where I get Blue Apron. This is not a promotion video or anything. But I get Blue Apron delivered and I get 4 meals a week. And when they send us pizza, they used to send the dough itself so that we would stretch it out ourselves and roll it out and all of that cool stuff. And that dough tastes amazing. It is fantastic. Like all of their food is super duper tasty to me. Um, and so I enjoy the process of stretching out the dough, shaping it, putting all the sauce, the toppings, or whatever, however they have me prepare it for that particular type of pizza. And this one in particular was a white sauce pizza that just blew my mind, man. Am I going to be able to log into it on this browser? See me? No. I don't know my password for it because I use the give me a random password Google for every single one of my logins. Okay, so Blue Apron it's just a meal delivery service. We had options. We could have done HelloFresh. We could have done Freshly. We could have done the other one that I can't think of, but we ended up going with Blue Apron. They just seem to have better offerings, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. But this pizza here was one of the meals that they gave us for this week, and like it doesn't necessarily look appealing to everyone. It's just corn and poblano pepper and garlic sauce with garlic and mozzarella. But the dough itself is the thing that really makes this pizza special. Um, like it's just so good. Their corn is top notch. I used to not like corn at all, but I can eat their corn every day for the rest of my life and be happy. Um, it's just so good. So anyway, what I'm trying to get to is that recently, what they had been doing when they send out pizza is that they will give us not the dough, but a prepared um, dough. I don't know what else to call it. A prepared pizza crust. And this crust does not taste nearly as good. It doesn't bake nearly as good as the dough. So I was extremely sad when they stopped sending us the raw dough itself. And then we finally got the raw dough this time around, and it was the best pizza I had ever had in my life. It was so good. So good. Anyway, yeah. And it's also it's kind of tough this week because we get our Blue Apron deliveries on Thursdays, and we usually prepare the meals on Thursdays, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And this week we are going out of town starting Monday, so we won't be able to prepare the other three meals. So we had a tough time picking between the pizza, which the dough would probably not be good by the time we get back, or the salmon, which the salmon probably might not be good by the time we get back. So we're just going to freeze the salmon, and it's not going to be as tasty. But yeah. Yeah, it's really nice. In the US, we at least have Blue Apron. I haven't heard it being offered anywhere else in the world. And then I don't know if HelloFresh or Freshly or whatever the third one is that I cannot think of. And I feel bad because I want to give them all representation because I'm not trying to promote one over the other. Um, but whatever the other meal is, Easy Meals is another one that we used to use, which is they just send you recipe cards and you buy the ingredients yourself. Yeah. These are such good meals. If you couldn't tell, we love pasta. HelloFresh exists in the Netherlands. Oh man, and this broccoli cheddar soup, it is it's so good. And this bread, they just have so many things that are like they're super tasty and they are super conscious. The way that they source their foods are good. The they clearly indicate what products are being used, and the nutrition facts they're good. Yes, you're absolutely right. Let's stop. Chili, chili. And they're the first place that we got to try plant-based meat substitute type stuff. They have an Impossible Burger, which is sold in stores, but for whatever reason, the one that they create and send with the meals was very, very different tasting and extremely tasty. And I don't ever want to eat a ground beef patty ever again because that patty was just so good. But then they stopped shipping that kind, and then they changed over to a black bean patty, which is still very, very tasty. It's not as good, but it's still very tasty. Okay. So I guess if we don't have any other conversations aside from food, how about if I ask a programming related question for anyone that wants a programming challenge? My goal is to select a whole bunch of records from a table and keep them in order of their TRNIDs, but also get back a distinct combination of two of the columns in that table without changing the order. And I only want the top 10 of those. Does anyone know how I can achieve that using Entity Framework? Yeah, Entity Framework, period. So this is what the records look like. I'll see if I can make it bigger. Not really. So that's making the overall UI bigger, but not quite the... Okay, so these two columns here, and if you want me to do any other queries to show you what the shape of the data actually looks like, then I can do that as well. But these two columns here, the lab and the lot, you'll notice that they are repeated a lot. So this one has hundreds of records for that one lab lot. And what I want are the top 10 lab lot combinations, the most recent 10 lab lot combinations. So I can't just say, give me the top 10,000 records and then do all of the processing locally. I only want to select 10 records from the database in the end. And so right now it is definitely giving me back the top 10 records, the top 10 distinct lab lot combinations, but it's not keeping my ordering, which I'm trying to order by TRNID descending. So by this column descending, so that the most recent is on top. And then I'm filtering by this lab code. I'm an EF Core Med scientist, according to TBD. So do you have any recommendations then? That would be extremely helpful. The name of this entity is TBL archived TRN. And the current query is just pretty straightforward. The current query is select from that table where the lab matches the lab I'm looking for, group by lot, because we already took out the needing to group by lab and lot. We only have one lot or one lab that's going to be returned. So I'm only grouping by lot to make it as simple as possible. I'm sorting by TRNID, and I tried sorting by TRNID before doing the grouping, and the grouping is not maintained. I tried sorting by TRNID after, so TRNID of the first element in the group, the first record in that group, so that I get the most recent on top, transform it to a new lab lot item that has the lab that we're looking for as the lab, and the key, which is going to be the lot for that group, which is going to give us a lot of duplicates still. So then I wanted to distinct that so that I only get back one copy of lab and lot, and then ultimately give me only the top 10 of those. At this point, we have just lost our ordering. So it seems like as soon as we do the distinct, we lose the order of the the TRNs. But I wouldn't be able to order by the TRN ID because I only have lab and lot in the thing that I'm transforming it to. But this object doesn't get the ID, and it should never get the ID, at least in my thing. However, if I just create the anonymous object, so we're gonna do this one again. So I am gonna follow your suggestion. Lab lots ID is equal to g dot ID, TRN ID, g dot first dot TRN ID. Oh my gosh, just work with me here. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. When I distinct here, then I am going to have an issue where we won't. No, this will distinct properly because we're getting the first TRN ID for that group. This might work. So then I transform it there, and then ultimately my ret response object is going to be lab lots dot select. This might work, Eagle, Stony. Select. Yeah, I just don't want to add the ID to my lab lot item because that's a concern that my UI should not have. I have made up my mind. I would love to call you Stony Eagle every single time. You prefer being called Stony. So I will do my best to continue calling you Stony. And that's the thing though, I don't want to return all 17,000 plus records in my SQL query. I would prefer to filter it out to only the 10 records that I am interested in before executing the query. It will always be a to list. So the reason it was complaining at me was because this is expecting a list of and not an IEnumeral of. So yeah, I do want to try this. I think it will be successful. I think it was a good suggestion. We did try something like it before, but we haven't tried this in particular. Because last time we did group by and then select only the first record from each. Man, hiccups. What was that? Pardaki, you're streaming. Stop that. I see you. I see you smiling. Bless you. So Vardaki, who is currently streaming, said, see, I only just have to keep lurking and I still learn things from you. I forgot as no tracking exists, still lurking for obvious reasons, obviously. Shout out to Bardaki. We're most likely going to raid over there here shortly. If there are no conversations, I mean, we got 30 minutes. We can make it the whole 30 minutes, right? Okay, so I just want to make sure that this executes. It does, and that was very fast. And no, it's still not giving us. Oh, because I forgot to order by afterwards. My bad. We were supposed to move the order by here. After the distinct. After the distinct. Safe. Okay. Are you gonna hot reload? Do I need to please just hot reload? Don't make me stop and restart. Please. Somebody that I used to know. Wow, it's not even gonna query anymore. All right, we're gonna stop and restart. Yes, thank you, Dukasoft. You're the bestest. Dukasoft is just as fantastic at supporting streamers as he is at streaming. Wait, no. That came out wrong. He doesn't stream very often, but when he does, the streams are magnificent. They are wonderful. They are worth watching and being around. That's the sentiment I was trying to get across. And this worked. All right, so Stony for the win. We just reorganize this so that we can order by the ID after doing the group by, after doing the distinct, and we're good to go. So we now have our top 10. Why do you look like this? We have our top 10 TRNs that we can restore now. Our top 10 most recent TRNs that we can restore. That's all I was trying to get done. Time for the second eating. The next thing for me to do with this is to make it so that when we click that Restore TRNs button, it'll move them from the RMA-ED database into the RTrack database with all of their original imported status, put them in intermediate status and Chemeric status P. Chemeric status? It's one of the other statuses. Let's just do setup. Started setting up. Restore TRNs process. Okay, so Stony said that he finished eating. He gave us a link. Dang it, why'd you open over here? A link to his SQL query that shows some of this madness. Yeah, and this is cool. So he's using precompiled queries, which is awesome. It's very, very smart. This makes them run super duper fast. Yeah, especially if you're going to be querying large amounts of data or many joins, many yeah. So he said, I'm working on a self hosted media server that makes it easy to rip and archive your physical media and play any movie, show, or music you own on any of your devices. The project is called No Mercy TV. The effortless encoder, which is the one that I was asking about earlier while he was getting ready to eat or was eating. I stream working on. Oh, so No Mercy TV is the effortless encoder. So that's the tagline for No Mercy TV. I thought it was a particular part of the application. I mean, it's definitely descriptive of the application, but like what I assumed, what I imagined the effortless encoder being was a function in your application that would allow you to easily um and I don't know a better term for this because I'm from back in the stone ages, in the stony ages. But for you to rip DVDs, for example, instead of having to go through another third party application that just gives you viruses and stuff. Um, but like if you personally own the DVD, I believe you have the rights to be able to back it up to digital form, and that would not violate the DMCA. So he's the last part of that was he streams working on it with chill music, and I love shenanigans. So if that is something for you, then drop by and hang out. Absolutely, absolutely. Dukesoft, you're so good at this. Have I ever mentioned how much I appreciate you? Because I appreciate you a lot, a heck of a lot. Make MKV, handbrake, archive, then set up extra work to make it play. Yeah, so I recently added a media viewer. It's not necessarily a media player, it's just a media viewer that I can access from any computer on my local network via browser so that I can do that on my local network. And since all of my devices are now VPN'd to my local network, then even if I'm traveling, it will act as if I am on my local network. I want to get a notification when I insert a disk, and it's guiding me through telling what it is and what where to put the disk. There's no place to put a disk in computers. What are you thinking? You're so weird. What are you thinking? Are you still playing music? Yeah, you are. Have you ever played Blu-rays on your phone? I haven't. I have not. You can't put discs into your phone. Ooh. Why? So, Big Gamey was talking about a battery pack earlier. Physical Blu-rays. I mean, I can. I have a external drive that will allow me to do that, but it would also need a separate power. So it needs two power sources. It needs USB 2 and then the USB 3 for the data. Um, so USB 2 for powering it essentially, and then USB, or it still works with USB 2. It's just I don't understand the limitations when you use only the USB 2 or USB 3, but the packaging, which is in a foreign language, just translated to English, says it's better if you use both so that the USB 2 can be used as power, and then the USB 3, like the laser is stronger or something, and then the USB 3 is for the data. I have the ability. Yeah. I have lots of cables that would most likely allow me to do it. I have this thingy here, which is a easy to use USB hub. I have another USB hub there. That probably wouldn't work on my, well, it is a powered USB hub, so it might work on my phone. What are you doing? What was that? Oh. So yes, so yes, doing it wirelessly, no. No, I have not done that, but it makes sense how to do it, especially knowing what No Mercy TV is now. You put a disk into any one of your computers that has No Mercy, your No Mercy media server on or listening to, and every other device will have access to it, is what it sounds like. As well as any media that you do have digitally only, which is awesome. It's very, very cool. And not only that, but you get UI display for the media that you have as well, which is very, very cool. Phew. Okay. I want a master server and then abuse your other computers on the network for encoding. That makes things super fast and power efficient for your main server, given that you do have multiple computers, of course. It's not a given for everyone, but yeah. I pretty much do have my home network set up as the way that you would do a vSphere type of setup, where one of my computers is dedicated for database, another one is for file storage, another one is web applications for my entire network, and then another one is AI workloads. Actually, a couple of them still do double as AI workloads, but yeah. But this makes it possible to run on a NAS or a Raspberry Pi. That's very cool. And then I keep forgetting that our modem and our router both have the ability to plug in a external drive, just any old drive, and then pretty much turn it into a NAS without all of the super duper special features and stuff like RAID. So, yeah, I guess. Um, so there's a thing that has come up in my field lately, and I have talked about this before, and so this is my segue into that thing. I told BitGamey that I was kind of using his channel points as a countdown timer for a decision that I was making, or for it was a goal that I was trying to reach. And when I reached 0, then I would make a decision. I would have an announcement of some sort to make. So I'm wondering whether or not to make that announcement for one. I still haven't made a decision for two, but I can say with confidence that today is my last stream. And then I might just leave it there. But the decision is, do I say for the week only? Because it's definitely my last stream for the week. And then also saying that I will not be streaming next week, which is also true. But it's also possible that I might not stream the week after. And then also possible. What's cool is that Windows Pro supports NFS. What sucks is that you can't watch the storage for change events. Yeah. Wait, really? So like you can't detect when a disk is inserted or not? or a disk is removed, or like even if you have a virtual disk. Hey, it's Big Gamey. Just in time. I started just now giving the announcement. I raided into Bardaki with you. He was lurking on here, is lurking on here. I'm lurking on his channel. Dukasoft was lurking on your channel, his channel. Who knows who else's channel? Probably Clay's. And interacting with all of you and me and us and modding on this channel. And yeah. You guys are amazing. So I kind of did. I'm pretty much saying the same thing that you heard already. And that is that today is my last stream. But I'm still trying, like, I'm going back and forth between making the decision on is this my last stream or not. So you were kind of right. I did say never stream again, not scream, stream again. And the decision is because of many factors, many factors. Which I can go into more detail about, but I'm doing it now because I know that I'm going to be forced to not be able to stream for the next week because I'll be out of town and all that stuff. And I have no idea how I'm going to feel when I get back. I am considering stopping. Like, one thing that would be cool is if I could still host community days or something. I can share the reasons. I absolutely can, and I'm okay with doing that. And I like you all too. I do. It's just something that I've been considering for quite a while. Hi, Scott. Welcome. I'm saying that it is possible. It depends on other factors when I get back from this trip as well. Like, as you know, I care very, very much from my... Don't call out your lurkers then if you quit. I'm gonna break the golden rule. I don't know what that means. One of the many things that I talk about a lot is taking care of your mental health. And one thing that I have struggled with ever since the beginning, well, there are two major things that I've always struggled with ever since the beginning of streaming. But first of all, my main reason for doing streaming was because I didn't have any other software developers that I could communicate with easily that would be able to talk about the type of software that I'm working on. And I wanted the ability to converse with people about this technology and to be able to get ideas from other people that are doing things different than the way that I am choosing to do them, because I'm just piecemealing together all of the different sources that I've consumed and processing them through my own brain and then making my own decisions without getting any feedback on those decisions. So I really, really, really wanted that. And I took the opportunity to do so. I also thought that there would be something that I could contribute back to the community, not just ask for things from you guys in order to get better for myself, but to also offer something back, which is my methodologies that I had come up with over time. And that was cool. And it did happen most of the time. But the two major things that I struggle with are anxiety and having to defend pretty much being the way that I am and having the anxiety that I do have. And it's just not not something I want to do anymore. And the second one is lately the troll culture on Twitch has been reaching into the software and development category a lot more than it used to be. And I don't want to be around that anymore. Cause like it's fun and it's just the way that Twitch works, you know? And that's cool. It's just not something that I'm interested in participating in. Absolutely. So I'm still considering continuing, because I do love this community. I love the ability to talk with you guys. You have brought so much enrichment to my software development journey, and I have loved it so very much. There is a lot of extra that comes with streaming that is starting to invade my comfort levels. That's starting to make it to where I am at a net negative. I have been streaming since 2002. So 2002, 2022, 2020, 2018. When was COVID? I was working on DDMS when you know what? We can look that up. 2019, 2020. So, yes, around that time, um, my first broadcasted stream was on YouTube. Content. Live. Sort by date. Wait. Wait, what? Hello? That's not actually sorting by date. 426 streams that are saved to my live, and then another bunch that I uploaded manually when I wasn't dual streaming. Okay, here we go. April 2020 would be around the time that I started streaming. What makes me dislike the trolling aspect? My preference for when I communicate is to give and get information. And trolling makes it to where you can't really know whether you are getting valid information. There's a lot of extra social cues that need to be picked up on that I just am not proficient at, and I don't like looking. I have an internal situation where I do not like appearing to be incompetent. And it seems like one of the things that people like to do on Twitch is to squirrel, to purposefully derail or cause the things to not be able to be taken seriously. And two is to come across as incompetent. Yeah, 2020 was my first, I think my first stream. It's actually the first stream that got uploaded. So maybe I do a few more before that I just didn't upload. You like more business meeting side? I just like when I'm like, it's really difficult because there is a balance, and I don't want to force my preferences for that balance on anyone else. My overall desire is for you to be able to live freely, be the way you are, not have to change yourself for the way that I am. And so instead of asking you to make any kind of changes, if you want to participate in my stream, then you have to follow XYZ rules. I'll remove myself from that so that you are under no obligations. That's my preference. But overall, yes, my desire is to have, like, when I stream, I want to promote a relaxed, positive environment. Not, and then again, I feel like I have to explain what I mean by that, because there is a form of positive environment that's like no negativity allowed, but that's not what I mean. Not toxic positivity, just a expansive environment, something that makes you feel open, even if that means every now and then having a complaint session about something negative that happened to you. during whatever it was that you were doing. But a lot of times when we bring up things like topics that I am truly um, considerate and passionate about, like when we talk about AI, there's the comments that are always present that make it a diminished conversation and not as valuable as I think it should be, kind of situation. Um, and I have mentioned it many times before, and there's very little change about it, and that's why it's like I just don't want to. I don't want to force you to have to behave in a very specific way so that you don't offend Humberto Cruz Ochoa Jr. Because I am not the authority on how you should act or behave on Twitch, regardless of whether this is a channel that I'm opting into. Instead, as I mentioned, I would prefer to attenuate my own behavior to allow for those things, or if it's too much for me, to not participate in them. And that's the balance that I'm trying to maintain at this point. Okay, so reading through chat though, in response to this, starting, let's say from Scott, who came in and said, "Are you saying you're considering quitting streaming forever?" Potentially. I mean, if anything, just taking a hiatus. Um, and it's definitely going to be at minimum a 1 week hiatus because I'm going to be out of town and I won't be able to stream. But yeah, then Stone Eagle says, "I'm gonna break the golden rule of don't call out your lurkers, and if you quit." Big Gamey says, "Mental health takes priority over everything." Stone Eagle says, "Not calling out to your lurkers is an unspoken rule on Twitch." And then Big Gamey said, "If you give up streaming, which I hope you won't, I am absolutely going to create an archery redemption. I want to see a Unity archery redemption, one that uses real physics and not my hacked together. Here's CSS, and I put on there, like, I don't know, however many elements, like UI elements that are all only going to appear on screen for the short span of time. It was fun, but it could be done much better if I was using something like 3JS or something that actually has a physics system like Unity. It would have been nice. I'm absolutely going to create the archery. You shouldn't have to defend how you are. I promise to stop trolling. Allegedly. No, I don't want you to have to change yourself though. That's the thing that I would least like. That would make me feel terrible. Terrible. Hey, Sort, you had one job. Stony says, "What makes you dislike trolling aspect?" And hopefully I address that. Not sure what you classify as trolling and just having a bit of fun. So, and just having a bit of fun. So the term fun is very different to each person. And the reason that I use statements a lot like "I am not a fun person" is because I define fun very differently. My definition of fun is productive. It's very, very synonymous with productive. It was fun struggling through this issue, coming up with different ideas on how to resolve the issue, focusing on the issue at hand, and then eventually overcoming it. And wow, that was fun. Um, other other forms of fun to many people, and it does seem to be more typical that it is the case, that fun is, let's see what we can do to make someone feel uncomfortable, make someone look incompetent, make someone distracted. Those are the types of fun that seem to be more prevalent on Twitch and more accepted. Again, on many streams, it's just me. It's me. It's not you. Um, so those are the kinds of things. And being all too serious, that is a phrase that irks me because that means that being a serious person is being wrong, and I don't want to be wrong. But then that makes it feel like I have to justify the reason that I am a serious person is because this is how I have fun. And then I have a lot of stress added when I am falling back to the defense mechanism of being joking about everything, not taking anything seriously. Yeah. So those would be the reasons behind that. Dukasov said, I learned so much from you, and you've been a huge lion to look up to in regards to professional development with anxiety. I hope if you quit, you'll come back at some point. And then Stony said, you like a more business meeting side in this. Is that a correct way of seeing it? I think like the way that I see it is this is how I would prefer people to just be naturally in everyday life. But it's not the case. It is more the case that people would prefer to have what I would consider, and you would probably agree, a lighter attitude towards things, which is cool. And that is absolutely a way to live. But it just makes it feel like the way that I prefer to live is not acceptable to this world, to this community, to the way that people normally are. And that's what makes it feel like I have to defend it mostly to myself. So it's a daily struggle of being like, I'm living life the way that I'm living life and enjoying it, but I'm also getting the message on an almost daily basis that I'm doing it wrong or being a I'm trying to avoid the word bad person, but I'm being wrong for wanting to take things in this way. Okay, where are we? Big Amy said, you've never come across as incompetent to me. Quite the opposite. Yeah, and thank you for that. But like anything that has to do with physical, like when I burnt my power supply out because I didn't have a strong enough power supply because I didn't consider that when putting in my video card, or one of the cables was loose or something and I didn't check it good enough. It's small things like that that just make me really beat myself up. And then like, you know, the people that come in and are like, how much do you get paid? And I'm like, if I tell you how much I get paid, then that's another place where you can judge me for not doing something correctly, not using the money that I am making correctly, or having the complaints that I do have about the way things work. I don't have a right to talk about that because I'm living a koosh life, whatever. And I don't like that feeling. You totally should tell us what you do, says Stony, and don't want. This is your channel, and we're just guests. I'd rather be told to tone it down a notch than making streaming a burden for you. Yeah, very cool, and I appreciate that as well. The burden of needing to say, pipe down, you're going too far, is very stressful. So again, if I have the choice of just not needing to be put into that situation where I need to be like, all right, this is too much for me, because then again, that's another ding on myself that I am yelling at myself for. Like, why are you taking this so hard? They're just having fun. And I get enough of that from my own audience in my head. There's a live studio audience in there that cheers when I do good, boos when I do bad, yells at me, says supporting things, all of it, the whole gambit. And when they boo, like I think I've mentioned this before, but I can't say used to either because it's a daily thing, but I'm an alcoholic and I haven't had anything to drink for a very, very, very long time. And one of the things that I attributed to choosing to do alcohol was my how loud that audience can get. And I just wanted them to shut up for a while. So I would drown them out. And it worked. And it made me a very terrible person. And then I would feel even worse after a session or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, so I've been paying a lot more attention to making sure I'm treating myself with love, making sure I have boundaries, but at the same time, if I'm just in a situation I'm putting myself in and I know that there are things that I could do to just lighten up, I just don't feel like I should have to. And I don't really want to tell other people to pipe it down or get in line because that's I want you to be just as free as I want to be, you know? Okay. Absolutely. In response to Stoney's comment, says Bit Gamey. I guess with potentially contentious subjects like AI, it's difficult to have a conversation and expect everyone to be for it. And it's yeah, that is another thing that I need to make clear is that I'm not trying to get people to say positive things about AI. I'm trying to get people to say true things in their experience with AI when we have the AI conversations. You do not have to be for it. You could absolutely be against it, but just giving conversation for the sake of this is controversial, so I'm going to say this. This is going to bug the streamer, so I'm going to say it this way. Those are the things that I would like to free myself of and not be around. Instead, if we are going to discuss a topic that has the potential to offend so many people based on opinion, that we do so in a sober light without poking fun at one side or the other. We do that a lot with programming languages. We talk a lot about how PHP it's a bad word. We just don't want to say that word. Don't even touch it. Don't even look at it. It smells bad. And it's fun, right? It's fun to talk about it, to joke about it like that. But there could be someone that is struggling a lot because they love PHP, potentially. And then they come into the stream and they're like, this is a place where that's not acceptable. I am a bad person. And it just happens to be a day when they are not feeling great and we're making fun of PHP. It happened on BBB's stream twice in a row when I raided into him, where I was having a particularly not great day and was getting hounded for the technology that I use on a daily basis. And I was like, I really don't want to be around this, but I want to respect you. It's difficult to have a conversation and expect everyone to be for it, although you would expect a level of constructive discourse. Absolutely, that last part. Dukasoft says, I have changed a bit. Haven't changed a bit. Good. Good. Be Dukasoft. Be Dukasoft. And then Bikini said, I would probably use OBS and StreamerBot to create an archery game, though. My stream struggles with one instance of Unity open for my project, let alone another for redemptions. Yeah, I honestly don't know what that would be like, because my guess was that you would pretty much make your stream overlay like the way that you would make a game. You would build it, you would publish it, and then you'd run the executable as your thing, as your overlay, as an extra application that's just always running. But definitely understand. Then Big Amy said to Dukesoft, yeah, you lie. You've changed me plenty. Ooh. Would removing sound alerts help? No. It's definitely not only the sound alerts. I honestly did put the sound alerts because I felt the obligation of I'm asking you guys by streaming. There is an unwritten, I'm asking you guys to come to my stream and provide this experience for me. I'm asking something of you. I would like to give you something in kind, something that you can enjoy doing as well while you happen to be here. Because I want to show you that I truly do appreciate you being here and contributing to the conversations, talking about the code that I happen to be working on, talking about code that you're working on because it's motivational to me. One of the main reasons I love lurking on so many streamers at the same time is because I love seeing people being productive. It brings me joy. I love seeing people enjoy the thing that they do on a daily basis. It brings me joy, and I want to support them for that. But the way that I support people is very, very different than the way that others support people with fun and laughter and joy. It is over 9,000. You're right. Or 8,008. I'm trying to use all your points now. Wait, he's quitting. Gotta use all my points. So yeah. What's up? I do have the best non-bot bot on Twitch. So There's nothing wrong with being serious. I just never seen Twitch as something other than a platform for entertainment. Exactly, exactly. So why would I stay on a platform that is the consensus? If it is the consensus, I know that you're just telling me that is your ops or your experience with it, but I think that is the majority from what I've experienced. If you couldn't tell, I've muted sound alerts for this. It is me who has to adjust to you and drop the shenanigans. I don't want you to ever apologize for being yourself. I won't either. Yeah, and so if I don't ask you to change your behavior, then you don't have to feel like you need to apologize. I feel like I have to apologize if I have to ask you to change your behavior because I don't ever want to ask anyone to change their behavior on account of me. I will do something about myself instead. And that's what's driving the back and forth because I really, really enjoy this experience so much. I really love being able to talk with talented people in different areas of the world that have different experiences, but it's getting to be a little much for me. And then Eagle said, "You have the best moderator on Twitch. He holds a sword for a reason because he's very good at what he does." President Usher said, "Arg, I have my daily meeting. We'll have to catch up later." Dukasoft says, "Lions mod is one of a kind. Wish I was half the mod." You are. Well, you're right. You aren't half the mod. You are twice the mod my mod is, which can be done recursively over and over. Well, that was a quick one, says President Not Sure. Wow, even before I got to the message where you told us that you had the thing. Dukasoft says, "I like PHP when I don't have to touch it, but that doesn't make it bad." And then Stony said, "There is a chance of never being able to redeem them. Pardon my shenanigans for a moment. I need to know what they do." Oh, yeah. And then, okay, I'm done. Wait, how did I completely miss this? Oh, but I'm so close to 300,000 points. You can still get 300,000 points. I think you can. Again, this is no guarantee that I am actually quitting. I am not trying to do the "I'm about to quit, so you guys need to change your behavior if you want me to stay." No, I really, really don't want that. This is all about me just taking care of myself, listening to what is causing me additional stress that I'm not handling very well lately. And I have voiced it, but I've never been direct about it, which is no fault of any of you. There's nothing you can do about stuff that you don't hear me say out loud. If I act like nothing's going on, you will believe that nothing is going on. But I do make comments and I try my best to stay respectful. And in staying respectful, I end up making concessions that I would prefer not to make. And then Rollers is here. Hello, Rollers. Is there a coding style guide you follow? Not on purpose. There is one that I have, naming convention, that I have read and understood quite a bit. And it is the naming guidelines in .NET. There's like an actual GitHub repo for this that I can't quite remember where it is. Best practices for naming, but like in the actual .NET repo, there is a naming conventions guide for C# language that provides the information about when to use Pascal, when to use _camel, all of that. And I do think that this will provide the same information. Maybe they did just move it to Learn. I wonder how long ago. A long time ago, about the last time that we touched RTrack. Yeah, this is definitely not what it looked like before, but it does look like it has a lot of the same information. So your private variables are regular camel case, your method names are Pascal case, your public variables, including private properties, are Pascal case. And then the one that I struggle with the most is when you're using acronyms. That one's very difficult. I have no idea what to do with acronyms. Like all of my applications have at minimum a 3-letter acronym that I use throughout different models and different objects. So, yeah. Oh, it's a great time for it. If we can help in any way, feel free to message us. Absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. So that was my announcement, and you do know that I am still available on Discord, all of that stuff. I'll be around ish. I'm still gonna lurk and support all of the streamers that I love: Big Gamey, Bardaki, Clayman, Sorcery Story, Canny, Mad Chirpy, It's Oik, all of these names that are over here on this screen that I follow. Irish John Games. Every one of them is amazing. I love the communities there. They are like the prime examples of what Twitch is for. Fun, enjoyment, relaxation, laid backness, that are very different definitions than what I would call those things. Um, yeah. So, with that said, though, I am going to end the stream here. We're going to raid out to the Bardaki, the best bard on Twitch, at least as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I'll be on Discord. I will keep you updated as to whether or not that's a decision that I'm going to make. It's especially stronger on my mind because of this family trip that's coming up. And then on top of that, my parents wanting to do the Puerto Rico trip when I was like, I am pretty much done with airports. And then just this year, I'm going to have to do an airport. And just saying that out loud, like I'm already feeling that I need to explain why I don't like airports um, or people. Because again, that is going to make me look like a bad person if I don't qualify it with 8,000 different words, and it'll still come across wrong and I'll be misunderstood. And I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to disappear for a while and see how it goes. But yeah, so no streams next week. I'll be out of town, possibly coming back the week after. Who knows? I'll keep you updated. And I do appreciate every single one of you for all of the things that you are and have done, regardless of whether I consider them trolly or not, or purposefully disruptive, or whatever definitions I've given them. I hope you get to stay being you and get to stay free, get to stay open and flowing, but most of all, loving. I appreciate it, Stoney. Okay, so we will raid out to Bardaki. All right, Blue Blue, enjoy. Yes, love you too, Dukasoft. Very much love. Much, much love. I don't like being in metal boxes for long periods of time. I like being in a 6x6 cell as long as there's a computer, and I will be happy. As long as I get to do software development. And even then, like that whole discussion that we didn't have today about how AI is not fun, it takes the joy out of software development for some people. And I'm like, I'm energized by it, by the ability to use it when I want and all of that stuff. But we didn't get to that conversation, which is completely okay. But we will hear more. So, yeah, that's it. Ciao for now. This video will be posted to YouTube at some time after the stream. Thank you so much, Rollers. And President Nasher says, I'm energized about it like that too. Okay. Ciao for now. Enjoy. Until the next time we meet up. Tschüss.